Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dragonrider Happy Hour. This is the hangout in my bar that happens weekly on Fridays when I'm done my work for the week, and I hope you're done your work for the week as well, and we can all just kind of hang out together and have a nice time and talk about the latest in gaming news. This week, we're going to be talking about EA Play and all the information dropped there. So Battlefield, Dead Space, Lost in Random, and more. We'll talk the Blizzard Activision lawsuit. They're getting sued by California, and what WoW players have done to protest it, which is super interesting. Aloy is coming to Genshin Impact, and Hades has won Game of the Year from the GDC Awards this year. So if you're just here for the gaming news, feel free to skip to the chapter that makes the most sense to you. But otherwise, please stick around and hang out. We do have a special guest today. Maude Garrett will be joining us in just a moment, so hang tuned for that. Hang tuned. Stay tuned, but hang tight for that. Also, Bartender Nate's here because what's our drink today? Bartender Nate.
Hello, Dragonrider Happy Hour. Today is a very simple, wonderful, classic summer cocktail. Light and refreshing. It's only 3 parts. 1 part is alcohol. That's your light rum or silver rum. This is what I use. Bacardi, pretty standard. And then all you need is cranberry juice and pineapple. That's it. Enjoy responsibly. Thank you.
Yay! Thank you, Bartender Nate. So I will admit I have started drinking mine before it started because it's, yes, that delicious. So that's what I'm drinking. Let me know in chat what you guys are drinking. I see Ted says, how do I skip around during the live? Unfortunately, you cannot skip around during the live. That would have to happen if you were watching this a little later because I have to wait till the live stream's over before I can make the chapters. Also, I don't know what I'm going to say yet, so I don't know how you could skip to the future, but we'll see. Yay, Nate, says Jimmy Sprinkles. All right, without any further ado, we do have a special guest this week here to discuss some of the gaming headlines with me and just wind down with a cool beverage. It is the one and only Maude Garrett.
Let's go.
Well timed, my friend. How are you?
I broke a nail. I'm good. Friday. Happy hour. Hi, Dragonriders. It's Maude or Maude, as we've discussed in the chat. When Americans say my name, it sounds like it's M-O-D, which means there's puns aplenty, especially in the gaming world. Yay.
Yes, which is how the moderator happened.
A moderator. See, accents changes everything.
It does. That's what. So how? Okay, Maude. Is that how I would say it?
Maude.
Maude.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. The AU sound, or in the Australian language, does not exist in the American vernacular. In no word do you have or as a sound.
Yeah, because it almost sounds like you're saying or, but without the R. Interesting.
Yes. There you go.
I love it. Well, I love hearing you talk, so I could hear you talk all day, Maude, with your accent. Luigi Figueroa says it's puntastic, the moderator. Yes, absolutely. Now, Maude, I'm so excited that you're here joining this week. Thank you so much for being here, because the whole idea of Dragonrider Happy Hour is hanging out with friends. And since, over the past year and some change, we haven't really been able to do that in person as much as we'd like to. It's nice to be able to do it virtually. So I know you broke a nail, you poor thing, on your can, but what are you drinking today? What is your beverage of choice?
So I haven't tried this one yet. It is June Shine, and they're messing me about with the label because some of it's just upside down. But apparently inside here we've got coconut, pineapple, orange, nutmeg, activated charcoal, green tea, and Jun kombucha.
Yum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not normally a kombucha fan, but that sounds very interesting.
Neither? Sometimes it just tastes straight up like fart, even though I've never tried fart before. It's an assumption that I have to make.
Okay,
but
yes.
Because it's like fermented, But this is all right.
Huzzah! All right, well, sometime I'll have to try it next time we get together in person, mayhaps. But let's dive into the news, shall we?
I'd love to. Ooh, gloves off.
Maude, did you get a chance to watch the EA Play live event yesterday?
No.
Okay, well then let's run it down. You may have read some of the news though. A lot happened. I'm gonna kind of go from the back end of EA Play and work backwards. So the very end, the final reveal was the big deal, at least the biggest deal to me.
Dead Space.
They officially announced a Dead Space remake.
So They're too scary. I remember back in Australia in 2011 or 2012, I was doing gaming content for Red Bull, and I had to attend the Dead Space 3. Was that 2 or 3 by then?
Dead Space 3 was 2013. Yeah.
That was Dead Space 2. If it was 20, I don't know.
Okay.
But it, you had to follow Isaac around, and it was like, oh yeah, there are these. I forget what they're called. Necromages, necro somethings, whatever they are.
Necromorphs.
Yeah. And I was just like, I don't want to be scared like this. And then it's like, what's worse is that he's trapped on a vessel. And I was just like, you've just identified a number of nopes in my life.
Yeah, definitely scary stuff.
Yeah. Why do I have an echo? I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And I adjusted my mic. Necrophage.
Yeah. You guys, okay, hold on. Let me see if I can adjust Maude a little bit for you and see if I can make it better. Maude, talk to me, love.
I would love to talk to you. Yeah, Luigi's going nope, nope, nope all the way.
Okay, let's see if that's better for the echo. Thank you, everybody, for the feedback. That will help. Necrophage. So yeah, the Dead Space remake officially announced. It will be coming to PS5, Xbox Series. Okay, good. It's all fixed. Woohoo! Thank you for that feedback. PS5, Xbox Series X and S, as well as PC. Now, going into this event, there were rumors that we might see a Dead Space remake, so I think a lot of people were hoping for this. EA Motive is developing it, and Visceral Games, who made the classics, Visceral Games is no longer a thing. So EA Motive is doing it now. And this will be a remake of Dead Space 1, the first one. We have no release date at this point. The teaser was in engine. I know the people I was watching it with, we were like, oh, is this in engine? It totally was in engine, and it's been rebuilt from the ground up using the Frostbite engine, which is cool. And I mean, looking at a remake, now developers can take advantage of the SSDs that are built into next-gen consoles. They can take advantage of 3D audio to make it even more terrifying, in case it's not terrifying enough. Maude, I know you're loving the 3D audio that they'll be able to play with now.
No, I don't like that at all. Please, thank you.
Right. Well, and for those of you who've never played, it's exactly as Maude described. You get to play as Isaac Clarke. You're sent to repair you're sent to repair a starship that you find out
He's trying to do his job, you know?
Alien necrophages, necromorphs all over. It's terrifying.
Dude's just trying to do his job, and then these like morphed, warped alien creatures that look like they're humans that have been dunked in hot wax and then had their hands pieced together. They're coming after him. Like, he's not getting paid enough. Can we talk about that workplace safety? No.
Definitely not. He's out there to like save his colleague though. So, you know, you gotta move on. They did confirm there's no intention to put microtransactions in it. There were microtransactions in Dead Space 3 and everyone was like, no, thank you. But there are no plans to put microtransactions in the remake of the first Dead Space, which is very exciting.
EA has to learn their lesson on that.
Yeah, we hope so. Jimmy Sprinkles in chat says, never played it. Captain Plays says, colleague, girlfriend. All right, well, yes. Saving his colleague, also girlfriend.
Matt Foster's on my side. Nope.
DJ David says, I have to get my PS5 back for my brother to play Dead Space, but I'm super pumped. You lent your PS5 to your brother? What a good brother.
I still can't even get a PS5. I'm looking harder for the Xbox.
Okay.
Yeah. But they're still like, it's just.
Are you trying to get the Series S or the Series X?
X gonna give it to you.
Okay.
Gonna give it to you.
Have I already turned you on to the notification app that I use?
Not enough.
I will. I'll give you the hookup. I'll give you the hookup. But yes, don't worry. We will help Maude get some next-gen gaming in her life. Dragonriders got you.
I'm PC gaming now, so that's something.
Yay! It's true. Rob K says, in Frostbite, I trust. Yes. Whereas Hemer Dubai says, I can't find a PS5 yet either, but I want that PS5 over Xbox. To each their own. So that was the Dead Space announcement from EA Play. EA Play Live is going on right now. So this is what EA did instead of participating in E3, was did this EA play live. So there have been a couple events so far, but all the announcements I'm talking about today in this Dragonrider Happy Hour just dropped yesterday during the event yesterday. We also got a look at Battlefield and Battlefield Portal, which is a new mode in Battlefield 2042. Maude, I am going to take a wild stab in the dark that you are not a Battlefield player.
I honestly do not play any realistic shooter games anymore. It's just the community is not for me. I actually watch gameplay on it, and I swear it's like the mouse going everywhere, and someone gets a headshot, and I'm like, how? I don't get it.
People are amazing. The cool thing with Battlefield Portal, though, is it's a new game mode that lets players customize their own game mode and take elements from all the previous Battlefield eras and put them in. So you could have like drones fighting World War II tanks. You can take soldiers from all different eras. I saw people freaking out when this was dropping in chat. I was watching this on Twitch Gaming, and people were like, oh my gosh, I am seeing like desert map confirmed, so many different eras. So it's like maps, weapons, vehicles, like all this stuff can be combined. You make your own kind of love letter game mode, and then other people can play in it, which is cool.
Cool. But isn't that like Mario Maker in a way?
I mean, kind of Mario Maker for Battlefield, if you will. But it's kind of cool. If you're a huge Battlefield fan, if you're a big, kind of like retro war history buff, this could be your wildest dream come true. Battlefield 42 itself is going to be EA's next multiplayer shooter. It is set in the future, and it will comprise 128 player matches. So the Battlefield Portal, where you create your own, is just a mode in that. But the other thing I thought was fun about this, as someone, again, who doesn't really play Battlefield, there's natural disasters as well. So hurricanes and tornadoes that you might have to contend with while also waging a massive war. You know,
we saw that in the Xbox showcase, didn't we?
I don't remember if we saw that in the showcase. I know that there were
was like a typhoon or something.
Yeah, there were definitely leaks of like a massive tornado throwing people around, and then that was confirmed yesterday. But
Is
yeah,
there liquid
it definitely
magma?
looks to be fun. Can you what?
Is there like liquid magma from volcanoes?
I have not seen that. Also, did you say magma?
Liquid magma. Yes.
Magma. But yeah, I don't know if there's volcanoes and magma. I did not see that. Cannot confirm, but maybe Maude has inside information that we don't know about yet.
What about Sharknadoes?
And Sharknadoes, we'll put those right in there with magma explosions from volcanoes. EA Play also told us about Knockout City Season 2. It's coming next week on July 27th, and the whole theme around it is fight at the movies. So we've got a new arena, new gear, a new ball, and I haven't played Knockout City yet, but so many of my friends have been playing it and loving it and asking me to play. Have you played Knockout City?
No.
It's like the intense dodgeball game. Multiplayer fun dodgeball game.
Trisha, you and I can both have long conversations about how this is literally PTSD high school years for us.
Oh, a dodgeball was like one of the only games that I liked because I was tiny. I was a small target.
That explains everything then, doesn't it?
Well, I would say, yes, you're a taller target than me, and probably were when we were younger as well, but still a lean target. I always felt bad for the kids that were like tall and stocky, like the kids that were like built like Lucy Lawless. You know, I was like, oh man, dodgeball's got to be rough for you.
Dodgeball's rough for anyone that doesn't like balls being pelted at them.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can get behind that too.
Yeah.
I also never mastered the dodgeball catch, like when it comes to you and catching it to get someone else out. If I try to catch it, it just beamed off my face. It was bad.
Yeah. Luigi said, dodgeball was the bane of my childhood. Lol. Yep.
Get it. Himura Jubai says, I liked dodgeball because that's how I got back at bullies.
That's cool.
I get that. All right, one of the highlights of the EA Play for me, and probably the game that I just legitimately am most hyped about, Dead Space. Yes, super hyped for Dead Space, but also this was an EA Originals. It's called Lost in Random. I don't know if anybody in chat saw that. Maude, I don't know if you saw this. Maude, I think you would like this one. So EA Originals is the part of EA that helps, get some more artsy-fartsy indie games out there, which I play a lot of artsy-fartsy indie games. So this is for me. Games like Unravel, It Takes Two, Knockout City. All of these were a part of the EA Originals program, and so is Lost in Random. So Lost in Random was actually praised at the Tribeca Film Festival. It's stop-motion animation. Think like Tim Burton Nightmare Before Christmas, but a video game. It's coming September 10th of this year to PS4 and PS5, Xbox One and Xbox Series X and S, Switch and PC, so everyone gets to play. And it's a gothic fairy tale in this like really cool dark stop motion world. So they showed us some gameplay during EA Play, and it's these two sisters, Even and Odd. Even needs to go save Odd from an evil queen. So that's kind of the plot of what's going on. But there's also dice gameplay and card gameplay incorporated. Yeah.
But it's got a very Burton-esque type of feel to it, though.
It does. Yeah, it looks great to me, and I will definitely be streaming it when it comes out because that is the type of game that I like to play. Are you looking at it now, Maude?
I did. I quickly had a little look at it, and I just took us back to the conversation that you and I have had previously about me not having ever seen Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, still?
Yeah, no, I have no interest in it either. Yeah, and you tried to convince me, and I think you sang a number to me, and it was like a really good sell, but it also bounced off me. Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe if you're in like an especially Halloween-y mood this year, we can have a Nightmare Before Christmas night.
That's like, I didn't really grow up with Halloween, and I don't like being scared. And then
that's why. Yeah, it's like the perfect meld of Halloween meets Christmas, and it can be celebrated from Halloween to Christmas. But if you're not a big Halloween person, it'll be weird.
It's very smart marketing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a good time. So that's Lost in Random. I'm going to try to wrap up EA Play pretty quickly. The other things we found out were Apex Legends Emergence is the next season, which is launching this August. There's a new legend named Seer, who's a tracker kind of similar to Bloodhound, but he can sense heartbeats, which is cool. And there will be a ranked arenas mode added in Emergence as well. And then because it's EA and they were like, we do racing games, they showed Off-Grid Legends, which I'm not a racing games person personally, but I always appreciate the visuals when we see those previews of those games. They feel like tech demos to me because they look so beautiful. So it looked beautiful. I will say Grid Legends. But that was pretty much EA Play. So I'm going to throw this question to Maude, but also out to chat.
Yeah.
What was the most hyped announcement of the show for you, or was the whole show very meh for you?
Well, and T-Boyce in the chat had brought it up as well. No BioWare, no Maude. Like, that's just, that's my jam. The EA does very, very good realistic war games, car games, and then none of that is my jam. And horror games, and none of them are my jam.
Sports games, lots of sports games.
Yeah, it's in the game. And that's not, I'm more of a challenge everything kind of EA girl, you know?
Okay. All right. Yeah, EA's press conferences are always very interesting because I feel like there's a lot of that like sports racing, very realistic war games, but then you'll also get something like a Plants vs. Zombies or a Sims or something from the EA Originals or a Star Wars title.
All those. All of those are good.
We knew going into this that there wouldn't be any Star Wars news, unfortunately. A lot of people were disappointed there was no Skate 4. Yeah, Steven just said no Star Wars games either. Rob K says, I'm more focused on Comic-Con, to be honest. Rob, what are you looking forward to from Comic-Con at home this year? Because I'll be honest, there isn't much for me that I'm like, yeah, that's it. For Comic-Con at home, is there anything you're hyped for, Maude?
There's stuff this afternoon. One of them starts in like 40 minutes. I think a lot of it's been pre-recorded though.
Okay.
But like, you know, there's a Masters of the Universe panel. There's a Star Wars High Republic panel that our friend Christina Ariel is hosting. So there's stuff happening, but it does not have the same weight or volume or hype factor as being there. But I'm glad stuff is happening. I think the timing of EA Play is really odd. Why wasn't this a month ago?
Because they intentionally did not want to be part of E3. EA Play has been trying to be its own thing separate from E3 for a while. So this year when E3 was announced for early June, EA Play was like, cool, we're starting July 22nd. Like, big bomb about that. So, so we've been seeing kind of some events come in and out, and I think EA Play is still continuing. They're going to give us more stuff, but that was like the big one. I see Rob K is excited for The Walking Dead at Comic-Con. Hi.
I'm going to be covering that one.
Yay. Yes. Luigi says He-Man starts today on Netflix. And Hemer Dubai says, unless Marvel gives me Masters of the Universe panel, Mark Hamill, I am there. Yeah, shout out to Motu. Beartastic Yogi says, regarding the EA Play, I would have liked to have seen an announcement for the next-gen NHL game. If they can nail the haptics on PS5 with the feel of the skating and the hits, it'll be a by day one for sure. Yep, and that's true. If they can nail that with the DualSense, that would be really cool. But that's, again, something that's hard to convey in a virtual presentation, right? Like, if people could actually be there filming it and talking to you about it and trying it in person, I feel like that would have a lot more weight. But I agree. That would definitely make it very, very cool. So that was EA Play in a nutshell.
Look at me, I'm in a nutshell. It's my second Austin Powers quote. Has anyone understood that I'm quoting Austin Powers yet?
The whole time?
That's what Liquid Magma was from.
There it is. Anyone? Yeah. Anyone? Steven says, I just want a release date for Dragon Age 4. Yeah, no Dragon Age news.
He-Man is animated, Lorden Miller.
Okay, there are lots of people in chat that say, yes, they got your Austin Powers references, Maude.
Good-o.
Feel good about that. You know what I don't feel good about? California suing Blizzard Activision for their crummy, repulsive behavior. So, Maude, you have probably seen this going around social media because it's all over the place. But in case anyone has missed it, Activision Blizzard is being sued by California's Department of Fair Employment and Housing for allegedly fostering a company of frat boy culture that subjects female employees to unequal pay, sexual harassment, and it's just a horrific read, like massive trigger warnings all over it for people. But like one female employee even took her own life on a work trip, and in this lawsuit, it's talked about how allegedly there were male colleagues of hers sharing private photos of her genitalia before she took her own life. So there's a lot of stuff in there that's just absolutely, like I said, disgusting, horrific. Now, of course, this is all alleged at this point. The lawsuit is pending. And it's given a lot of conversation online about, what is the HR department even for? And Maude and I, as two women that have worked in tech and gaming and the entertainment industry for a while, can attest, at least in my experience, HR is 100% there to protect the company and not you. Yes.
And if you complain and they have to make adjustments according to the complaint, it's easy to get rid of the person making the complaint than it is to shift the company ethic. So yeah, you're at risk of being unemployed if you say anything as well. T-Boy says it's also telling that the California state government can only sue Activision in civil court rather than pursue criminal charges. We need better protection against racism, sexism, and worse. This is basically what happens when your tiered system of people higher up, who makes the hiring, who creates sort of what the company looks like, are all men and they're all buddies, because that's what can perpetuate this frat culture. And then that's when they're looking out for their mates instead of getting the best person for the job, instead of like sort of being encouraging. And then you're also with that making the entire office the locker room. And I think we can, make that association where the locker room conversation. And I've heard so many horror stories about guys standing up to that kind of locker room talk and then not getting work again because of that, because they weren't, yes-anding.
They weren't really part of the culture.
Yeah.
Part of the team culture.
I think it's horrific that it went on for this long and that it had to, involve someone taking their life for this to be recognized and even noticed. But I really want this to almost be a scapegoat so that we can clean this out from the top down, and so that every other company, not only in a gaming culture, but anyone who's running any sort of company has a priority in doing better across the board. I think we just need more consequence, more repercussion, because this is what it's been like for so long. And until we all make this change, then it's going to keep happening. You've experienced it. I've experienced it. I have horror stories. You have shared things about blatant sexism and your hands being tied to do anything about it. Mm-hmm. And this is what I think a lot of men don't understand. We don't share it because a lot of the time we're not believed, or it's just like, that's not so bad.
Oh, you're just punished for it. There are so many environments I've been in that if I said anything against that kind of stuff, I would just be fired.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of people out there that are like, why didn't you report it to HR? Why didn't you sue the company? Let me just tell you, when you're in your early 20s, you don't got money to sue anybody. So why didn't you sue the company is kind of a naive thing to say, because yes, there are laws out there to protect from this sort of thing, but how many times can it actually happen that a company gets in trouble? So I know I said this was like bummer news, but I meant bummer news that it happens, not bummer news that they're getting sued. I'm actually excited that they're getting sued because it is coming to light. But Steven Summers, thank you, Steven, gave a super chat and said, from your perspectives, what can be done or should be done to stop this crap from happening? It's hard. I always say, if you see something, say something. Please stand up for anyone you see, whether they're being targeted because of their gender, their orientation, their race, their age. If people are being targeted for whatever reason, especially by like a pack, because that's how it feels, like a pack of other people, please stand up and say something. But I understand that that's hard to do because then you are outside the culture. You are then penalized for standing up to it. But I think that's one of the only ways it's going to happen. But also, in feel-good news related to this, WoW players decided to do something about it. And I know we hear a lot of times, vote with your wallet, don't buy the games, boycott the games. But that hurts more than just the people who are directly involved. That hurts all the great employees that are working there too, that worked for years and years on games. So that's not as easy of a solution either. WoW players decided to stage a virtual protest sit-in within the game. So hundreds of players participated in this. It was organized by one specific guild, using the sit-in to raise money for Black Girls Code.
Love it. That's great.
Right? Like that, to me, I was like, yes, if you want to make a change, like that's a great way to do it. And the quote that I found from them for the sit-in is, "We as customers and members of this community protest the unethical treatment of employees at Activision Blizzard and demand that they make transparent, lasting changes to their company and associated IPs. We stand with the victims and survivors of Blizzard's racism and abuse." So I thought this was an innovative way for players to take a stand, as opposed to that like voting with your wallet approach. So I thought that was really, really cool. And same thing to kind of throw out to the audience and to you, Maude, like is there anything as players that we can do? Like, yes, it's been thrown around the vote with your wallet, just boycott all their stuff. It's, been thrown around. If you see something, say something, take a stand to help people out. Ask them if they feel uncomfortable, if they're in danger, and then say something like, yo, knock it off, please. Because a lot of times if the person who is being targeted says, knock it off, please, they're not taken seriously. It's seen as kind of a like coy, no, I said no, but not for real, which is a horrific thing, but it's the state of affairs a lot of times. So what do people think they can do? Let's see.
I actually really quickly want to address a comment that said, don't female execs turn a blind eye just as much. The thing I really want to recognize when we are talking about an actual case where all of the executives are men, and then you do a whataboutism to try and target and blame women for something that actually isn't even applicable to what you're seeing right now, that is a form of bias and sexism and misogyny, because you are trying to blame women for doing what in this case is specifically men. And it's really interesting when men are blamed for something a lot of the time, if we're talking about sexual assault and someone comes up and they're like, yeah, but men get attacked and men get assaulted as well. And what it shows is that you're only willing to defend men only when it's at the cost of deflecting the same values from women. So you're not, like, a lot of people aren't really advocating for these particular things, but only as a reaction from when men are being blamed for something. And I think that's something to really watch out for. This isn't a generalization. This is quite a specific thing. And I think we really need to focus on that, because this, as Trisha and I have just explained, we have many examples of this same position. And I've had so few women in charge, so few women bosses, that I can't even pick this. But I will say that one time when I was having an issue of harassment from someone who was on the board of directors, and I told all the men in my company and they all dismissed it, I went to the executive producer, who was a woman, and she believed me and she handled it and took care of it. And she's the person that has supported me the most. And that's just my personal experience. So I just want to recognize that and just say, don't do that as a deflective reaction or response.
Yeah, and I mean, there definitely, when we're talking about lots of different types of harassment and unequal treatment that can happen in the workplace, there are definitely things committed, of course, by all different genders, all different ages, all different races, etc. But Maude's right. You know, the specific thing that we're talking about here is the Activision Blizzard lawsuit, and specifically that kind of bro culture versus female employees that you do see quite a lot in tech and gaming and entertainment. But yeah, I mean, the fact that there are all different types of people that commit it, to me, it doesn't change anything. I think that type of harassment and that type of abuse and that type of everyone ganging up on one person is not cool in any way, shape, or form. I saw that Estremel09, thank you for the super chat, says, don't know if you saw it, but Bungie's press release statement about this from earlier today was pretty awesome. I liked a lot of what they had to say. I did not see it, but I would encourage everyone to check that out, and I want to check that out too. Steven says Alana Pierce had a heartbreaking video about her experiences, and I watched Alana's video as well. And yeah, Alana was really honest about it, and she just talked about how, like, Alana was surprised that so many people in the industry were surprised by this news, because it's so commonplace to people who've worked in this industry for a while. And to Alana, you know, she said, please go check out her video. I don't want to put words in her mouth, but she did say, you know, I'm not surprised by it. I've seen this and enjoyed this pretty much every place I worked. And for me, I worked in one workplace where we jokingly, I just stopped pitching ideas in meetings, because I knew if my idea came out of a guy's mouth, it would get taken seriously and probably creatively, you know, moved forward, as opposed to if I said it because I was a girl, I was a woman, and my ideas just were frivolous. Whereas if a guy said the exact same idea, it was taken seriously. So yeah, I just got to the point where I would write all my pitches and hand them to a male colleague to pitch my idea so that my idea could get forward. And it is what it is. And I had an experience where I went to HR about something that was a repeated issue, and the HR representative said to me, because she was there to protect the company, not at all in my interest, and she just said, can you just avoid him? Mm-hmm. That was the answer. Can you just avoid him? And it was because he was so high up in the company that she knew there was really nothing she could do from an HR perspective to penalize or address it with him in any way. So the answer was just to ask me to avoid him. Which I had to work with this person, so that's not a solution.
And it also excuses his behavior. And it's not even like, I'm going to have a talk with him, we're going to put him through a sexual harassment course so that he understands and recognizes it. But I know that if I was in that position, I'd be like, oh great, he's going to hate me or blame me or make my life a living hell because he was held accountable for his actions. Also, someone just previously, again, because I'm just, well, we're learning. I don't want to call anyone out, but I think this is a really great platform to sort of learn. Someone said, well, when you just generally say men, it's natural that some will feel attacked and feel like they need to respond. And I think that this is the really big learning part of it. This is a great way to kind of unlock that reaction from it. Men is a plural of man. So when we are addressing more than one man, we say men. But I think the assumption is that when we say men, it is all encompassing and it's all men. And I think the default way that men in that generalization is used is not all men, but enough men to say men. And I think that if your concern is wanting to defend men because you haven't done it, instead of recognizing the men that are doing it, then your priorities are wrong.
That's an important distinction to make from a semantics level for sure, because I think that a lot of people, when they are coming forward and using the term men or women or whatever term they're using in the plural, they're meaning this specific plural of this group that have committed these things or done these things or been alleged to do these things, not all of them. Because I mean, Maude and I, we've both worked with some pretty amazing male colleagues over the years as well. So it's definitely a not all thing. But it is interesting, that people do have that defensive reaction. And I think the more we have conversations and the more people kind of read about other people's experiences and get this terminology and these kind of language things out there, I think the more we can have these types of conversations, which ultimately benefits everybody. So, I mean, the question that Steven asked in the super chat of like, ultimately, what can we do about these things, whether it's as a player, whether it's I find myself being a bystander in these situations, what do I do? I mean, I think a lot of people are trying everything they can right now, trying to give them bad social media press, trying to boycott games or events. I mean, gosh, the last BlizzCon I was at in person, there were a whole bunch of people protesting outside. Not for this specific reason, but for another reason that BlizzCon was in hot water for doing things that were controversial. So I think people are trying to make their voices heard. As I said, I've absolutely loved the World of Warcraft virtual sit-in benefiting Black Girls Code, which is awesome. So trying to do something good to counteract that negativity that you see in the world. Let's see. Buckman, I missed the first part of your question. I saw Buckman said, and specifically the people with power versus the mid to low level workers, ? And I missed the first part of that.
Oh, here it is. I gotcha. What we as consumers can do to make a change other than not buying products. What else can we do to make those with power in the industry feel the need to make a change? I think what's really like an underused resource is LinkedIn. So we can actually contact the executive producers of particular games. You can look at the infrastructure of these big companies and see what men are in positions of power, and you can message them. And I think, again, if you're trying to get a positive response, then you do it in a way that's just like, this is something that would mean a lot to me, instead of being like, F you, you're the worst.
Right.
Yeah, because that's not beneficial for anyone. But that is actually something to do. Another thing that I would say is within gaming communities, when you're playing online, when you're in chats, when you're on social media, start actually flexing and working out that muscle of calling out bad behavior.
Yeah.
Because guys, you don't understand this, but when you call out fellow men, they listen. When we do it, we are an inconvenience. So my favorite people online are the men that call out the other men, and they recognize that sort of peer connection. And it's like, hey, maybe don't do that. And if you get called a white knight or a social justice warrior, that's honestly not the worst thing in the world, because you have made that woman's day by stepping up and just being the voice that we haven't been allowed to have.
Yeah, Maude, I think I told you this, and I know I mentioned this once before on stream, but Nate, who's not really in internet culture and doesn't really engage in a lot of this kind of internet discourse, had never heard the term social justice warrior, and he was like, a warrior for social justice? That sounds awesome!
I know. It's like, if that's what you're getting called, is honestly not the worst thing.
Right, yeah. It was very funny. It was a very, sweet reaction from someone who is not involved in that. But yes, whoever the D-bags are, as Stephen Summers says, whoever the D-bags are that you see out there, no matter whom they're attacking, if people are being crap to other people, just be like, yo, stop being crap to other people. You know, it does get very gendered when it's specifically white knights or specifically dudes that are trying to defend ladies from other dudes. I just think if take the gender out of it even, when people are being crappy to other people, stand up for people. Like, this is, to me, I'm like, this is not a hard concept. But, you know, we're all still learning. Jesse says, thanks for taking the time to talk about this. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, you know, Dragon Rider Happy Hour is usually light and fluffy, but sometimes it gets a little serious, and I'm uber happy that I could have Maude on this episode to talk about it, because everybody's experience is a little bit different. But yeah, I mean, I primarily worked in tech before I worked in gaming and before I worked in content creation, and for me, the shades of it looked a little different everywhere I was, but it was definitely still prevalent. And shout out to someone in chat. I'm sorry I didn't see who said this, but earlier someone in chat had said, what about the idea of hiring a third-party HR?
Yeah, I love that. And I actually
keep the peace. That's a great idea. I'm sure there are third-party, like, objective HR companies out there for hire, but so many companies that are bigger have their own already. But yeah, that's a great idea too.
Not only that, but like using third parties to check in with the other employees, how you feeling, and then using that third party to cultivate a kind community and provide guidelines and remind responsibilities for big outlets or news stations or whatever it is that has a built-in audience, that what you allow in the comments reflects who you are as a company. And I think that more attention needs to be...
Ooh, yeah, now we're getting real spicy.
And if it takes a third party to be like, no, the amount of engagements and comments that you get is not more of a priority and does not take precedence over the not protecting your talent. Yeah. Unions. Jesse, yeah, you're onto something.
Jesse talks about unions. Fixzy says it's important to note that any us versus them attitude has a tendency to create hostility, so slow progress. So when trying to get groups or companies to change, you need to be smart and try not to come into it hostile. Like Maude was saying, if you contact someone on LinkedIn, say, hey, this is what I would love to see more of. That's great as well. And yes, taking this opportunity when we're talking about community moderation, shout out to mods everywhere. The good mods, of course, the Dragonrider High Lords, which is what I so lovingly call the mods of this channel, all the Geek Bomb moderators for the Geek Bomb community, mods everywhere. Keeping communities a nice place to hang out.
Yes. And the fact that, like, people within a community can cultivate a kind community as a mod, and yet these massive companies with a lot of money and a lot of ways to actually make it happen are opting out. I think that so it just proves that it's not a gargantuan impossible task. It just requires a little bit of attention and priority. Yeah,
I will not name the company, but I did work at a company on a 1-year contract that believed in not moderating their community at all. And I'm not talking about just live chats or comments on YouTube videos, but forums, everything. They believed that everyone deserved to have an opinion, even if it was an unpopular one. And I have to say, as much as I love freedom of speech as much as everyone, having it be that open and completely unfiltered in their community bred a community that was incredibly hostile and aggressive and hateful. And it was not a place that not only did I not want to work, and I got out of there after a year, but it was not a place that I wanted to hang out in as a community member either. I was like, oh no, get me out of here so fast. So I don't know where that exact line is, but I can tell you that it did work for me.
Honestly, it's differentiating between what feedback is and what abuse is. And if you cannot write feedback or criticism or an opinion without abuse, you're the problem and you don't deserve the platform to be able to express it. So I think it's really helpful for also the community member to understand how to give feedback in a way that isn't abusive. And yeah, if you cannot figure that out, get out. Bye.
Al Captain Play says, any idea if that company still is like that? I don't know, because it's been a very long time since I worked at that company. I haven't been back. So I don't honestly know. I don't want to be anywhere near it. So I don't know. But maybe not. I hope that things have gotten better. But honestly, a lot of this conversation that we're having, Maude and I, and as far as my experience in both the worlds of tech and gaming, as well as content creation, It's a lot of why I went on to do my own thing and stopped being an employee of anyone else. Because now, as a business owner, and Maude is also a business owner, now as business owners, there are no higher ups to subject me to that kind of abuse or behavior. I run my own show and I deal with everybody as an equal. There is no weird power dynamic for me to contend with. And you know, if I don't know, come up with an idea that's not a good idea, I'm the only one that has to, you know, that has to deal with the ramifications of that. I'm not, you know, getting harassed or bullied, you know, on the basis of my idea. Like, it's a much better power dynamic to come into it as an equal. And, you know, when I look at women who've had experiences like Alana Pierce has and stuff like that, like in my heart, I'm like, do your own thing. Just do your own thing, and then you don't have to worry about any of that. But, you know, not every woman should be forced to have her own company just to get treated somewhat fairly.
Yeah. I've had a company where I've hired about 25, 30 people over 9 years, maybe even more than that. Majority have been women. And I almost want to be like, you know, because there's so few sort of female bosses out there as well, that I'm trying to, again, cultivate a community where it's like, if I can mentor these women and then when they go out into that real world, have that experience of what to tolerate and what's actually unacceptable and have that as their benchmark, then all the better for it.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so I'm going to put a button on the Blizzard Activision conversation, but thank you everybody so much for weighing in on this. Maude, thank you for your very real experience and sharing and insights here. I think it's so, so valuable to have different voices in this kind of conversation as well. And we're going so long, and I know we have other stuff to shoot today, so I'm just going to quickly go through. We also found out the other news stories this week. We also found out that Aloy is going to be in Genshin Impact, which y'all know I'm a big Aloy fan. I've been playing a lot of Horizon Zero Dawn on stream. I'm not a huge Genshin Impact fan. I think we played it once on stream and lovingly called it Breath of the Weeb because it looks a lot like Breath of the Wild, but very, very anime style. Maude, have you played either Horizon Zero Dawn or Genshin Impact?
I've seen you play Horizon Zero Dawn. I haven't been able to play it yet. Not because I haven't wanted to. It's just my pile of shame on my PlayStation is a little bit too high. And I keep playing Witcher 3 again and again and again.
I get it.
Yeah. And I'm actually, same thing. I wiped my Breath of the Wild file to play that from the start again as well. So no.
Well, now if you want to experience the character of Aloy in Genshin Impact, you can. Genshin Impact, I believe, is still free to play. And the anime-infused style of Aloy that we will get to see in Genshin Impact was really, really cute. This is only going to happen for a limited time as a 5-star character. PS4, PS5 Genshin Impact players will get first dibs, first access to this. But once version 2.2 comes out, then anyone above rank 20 will be able to access Aloy in-game. So we have actually seen Aloy in Fortnite, Monster Hunter, World, and Iceborne so far. So my kind of for funsy question is, where else should Aloy go next? Since Aloy's all around.
If it's going to be a PlayStation property, you're not going to see it. What's the Sony fighting games? Usually this is the kind of character that would randomly pop up on like a Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see Aloy in a fighting game for sure. I see a lot of people are like, Smash! Aloy and Smash!
Yeah, we're on the same page with that one. Yeah, we're on the same page.
That would be very, very fun. Hashtag Steam Backlog, says Luigi. And I totally... Aloy and Tekken, says Aditya and Neil. That would be fun.
Tekken. Yeah.
Have her team up with Lara Croft. It could totally happen. Maybe a PS5 version of Injustice.
If you do like a multiverse and they go back in time or something, yeah.
Maybe, but yeah, I'm a fan of Aloy going into whatever game crossovers we need because I think Aloy is amazing. Other quick news hits. Hades was announced Game of the Year for this year's GDC Awards. So GDC is the Game Developers Conference, and I always like to pay attention to who wins the Game Developers Conference Awards because this is other game devs voting on this.
Hold on, GDC is usually in March, March, right? Yeah, GDC.
I've only been to GDC once, and I don't recall what time of the year it was.
Because I usually host an awards there, and if not the end of February, then it's the beginning of March. So it's like around that time. And
Okay.
obviously time doesn't mean anything and like anymore, and things have been pushed back, and yeah.
But yeah, I mean, kudos to Supergiant on your win for
They're
Hades.
cleaning up. They're cleaning
up. So they got 3 awards at the GDC Awards. So other devs granted them Game of the Year, Best Audio, and Best Design. Ghost of Tsushima got 2 awards this year, including the Audience Award as well as Best Visual Art Award. And I just thought, it was interesting to me that so many of the other industry-led votes really gave high praises to The Last of Us 2, and in the GDC Awards, The Last of Us 2 only won 1 award, but it's always interesting to me to see who the voting is done by, and then which games are chosen and why, right? So I loved Hades. I think Hades is awesome. I need to invest more time and hours into Hades. I'm probably only 20 hours in, and that's barely scratching the surface of that game. But the music is awesome. The art style is amazing. The voiceover is great. The game plays so well. The way the story unfolds is really fantastic. So I understand that it won all these awards. Same thing with Ghost of Tsushima, which was absolutely stunning. But yeah, I mean, Maude, did it surprise you that Hades and Ghost of Tsushima kind of took the lead at the GDC Awards this year, knowing that it's voted on by other devs, or did you think there was going to be something else in there?
Honestly, The Last of Us 2, I thought would have got a little bit more recognition than it did because it was so hyped, and the first one cleaned up. It got Game of the Year for a lot of different awards shows. And I think that, there was slight controversy around it, which I don't think was necessarily fair. But I really love the fact that we've got an independent developer studio that has made a game that has, forced people to sit up and listen and to recognize it. I think that that's really great because usually it's this AAA title after AAA title, and it's usually which studio had the most money. So this is really, really great for independent studios to create really, really good games, and I love that. And I've played 1 hour of Hades. I got to get back into it.
Hades is good, but correct me if I'm wrong, Maude, aren't you not a fan of roguelikes?
Exactly.
Yeah,
but that's my problem, so I'll have to get.
Just understand that dying is part of the adventure, and once you've come to terms with that, you don't feel so bad about dying, and you're able to know that every time you die you get a little more story. So in that respect, you kind of look forward to dying in the game.
I am not nihilistic, Trisha.
In the game.
I didn't.
But other games that came out this year that did take home awards: The Last of Us 2, Phasmophobia, Genshin Impact, Microsoft Flight Sim, Half-Life Alyx. So some really good titles out there. But yeah, Hades took the cake this time. So congratulations again to Supergiant. Maude, was there any other gaming news or tech news that was on your radar this week that you wanted to chat about?
No, I just wanted to vent that I'm back into Stardew Valley, something fierce. I think about it when I'm not playing it. I'm back there again.
Yeah.
And Octopath Traveler is on Game Pass. I bought it full price on the Switch 3 weeks before it came out on Game Pass. But it is so good, and I'm loving playing that.
I want to see how far you get in it. I got 3 or 4 heroes into Octopath Traveler and then kind of got bored with the grind, to be perfectly honest. So I never finished it.
There's a lot of grind. I'm between levels 25 and 34 for all my heroes.
All right, cool. Yeah, I got a fair amount into it and then just kind of moved on to something else. But I did really enjoy. I love the pixel art style, and I did enjoy a lot of what I played. So that's one that I will have to revisit at some point in time and finally finish.
Stardew is very pixelated as well. Stardew is better than meditation as far as I'm concerned. It is so cathartic. I love it.
Quickie, Stardew or Animal Crossing?
Oh, 100% Stardew. Animal Crossing, I was just stop putting your, awful. They were trauma dumping on me, basically. Oh, the island looks terrible. Oh, I'm gonna rip you off, and I just didn't need any of that. Whereas, I talked to Pam, the town's alcoholic. She's exciting. She's not trying to ruin my day. I don't know. I love it. And someone mentioned that the Olympics is going on. Brisbane, my hometown, just got announced for 2034 or something, whatever the 2030 something is. Yeah.
Also, Olympics, this is a great quick hit. I just saw this morning, but music from Final Fantasy, Nier, Kingdom Hearts, Chrono Trigger, and a bunch of others was played during the opening ceremony, which, Yes,
That's
like the Final Fantasy victory fanfare and everything was like the music of the opening ceremony. So I woke up this morning and went immediately into early morning Amazon streams. But once I wrapped my Amazon streams, I went on Twitter for the first time and saw everybody clipping like, oh my God, was that Final Fantasy? Oh my God, is that near? And I was like, oh, this is the best. Like, yes, there's a lot going on with the politics surrounding the Olympics right now. And I'm definitely not trying to make light of any of that, but just my gamer heart wept a little when I heard the Final Fantasy victory fanfare in such a public way. So people who don't already love these soundtracks, maybe now they get to hear them, and maybe they will, and that made me happy.
I had a really good stream the other night where I just played video game music because I was like, I think I can get away with that because technically if you stream the video game, that music is in it. So it was like full on video game jukebox. It was awesome.
Love it.
Yeah.
I would still keep your eye out for Twitch DMCA, but that is awesome.
Oh yeah, YouTube hated it. I didn't even upload the video. And they were like, no. And I was like, I didn't record it for YouTube. I don't know how. But they're like, no. I was like, okay. Oh, wow.
No. They said.
Yeah.
But Maude, thank you so much for joining me for Dragonrider Happy Hour. And thanks to everybody who's been watching this. Humor Dubai says, yes, game music is my joy. Yeah. I am with you for sure. But yes.
Command and Conquer.
I was going to tell a more personal story related to that mod that you made me think of, but I tell you what, I will save that for Power Down because Maude and I are going to, once we finish and wrap up here, I'm going to take my studio and bring it back up to my actual gaming studio, and Maude and I are going to record Power Down, which is something that is available on Geek Bomb's Patreon, and it's usually Maude and I just chilling out and talking about life in a, this is a very casual format for sure, but that tends to get into a little bit more table talk-esque personal life story stuff.
Yeah, we leave it all on the table. Yeah.
For sure. So yeah, Maude, where can people find you if they want to see more of your stuff?
On social media, I am at Maude Garrett on pretty much everything. The company that I run is called Geek Bomb, so you can get all your news in video games, movies, film, and books. Again, that's on all social medias. I've got a YouTube page, Geek Bomb, and I'm on Twitch streaming for Geek Bomb too. And I'm doing a lot of Stardew on there. It's so good. It's just so good.
Stardew hype. Yes, well, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. The next time that I will be live is Sunday morning for my Sunday morning stream over on Twitch. And anytime I have surprise streams or anything like that come up, the best way to find out about them is on Discord, which is linked below in the description. If you follow that Discord, that will tell you all the different stuff that I'm doing because I live and die by my Google Calendar, and I very rarely know what's coming next in my life, but Discord knows.
Yeah.
So again, thank you all so much for watching. Maude, thank you so much for being on Happy Hour, and I will see you all soon. Stay safe, stay healthy, everyone, and have a great weekend.
Bye. It was a good hour.
Bye. It was.